Salutations, Yasharala. It's your brother, remain true, Yaran Yahweh. Greeting you, Basham, Yahweh Shah, Adonai, Mashiach. Alright, seed of David. The Most High is chosen. So we're going to pick back up until TLTL's, the end of the world's video entitled Grafted in Gentiles, Who Are They? According to him, the grafted in Gentiles are the heathen nations outside of Israel. This is the second part of the video. If you haven't watched part one, watch it because we brought out a lot of important stuff. But we're going to pick back up into his reading of Romans 11. Okay? And that's where he decided to start at. So here we go.
Fall, God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. So salvation has come to the Gentiles to make you jealous, Israel. You took it for granted that you were the original branch, that you were chosen of Yah from the foundation of the world to be his people. Right? You took it for granted. Your elders took it for granted, and now you're going back to being like them. We're the chosen seed. We're guaranteed salvation by genetics, is what many of you are saying. Whereas the Gentiles do not have salvation offered to them. That's what you're saying. That's what you're teaching.
Well, the scriptures teach
the
that.
Gentiles can't be saved. They're not the foreign branch that's being grafted into the tree.
They're not.
Really?
They are not. Yeah, really.
Israel is a natural branch, right? This is exactly what Paul is telling you.
No, that's not.
The natural branch is the people of Israel. Gentile nations, or the foreign branch, which had been grafted.
Okay, so the question is, who is Israel by interpretation? Okay, who is Israel by interpretation? You saying Paul is you started at Romans 11, okay, and that's not a way to go into someone's letter and say this is what they're saying definitely, and you don't bring us to the beginning of the letter. Anyway, Israel is the world. It's the cosmos that Most High set up. All right. But from a different perspective, as far as comparing Israel with Jacob, so you have to deal with the promises before the covenants. Before the covenants, man, there was promises. All right. Those promises were unconditional to a man, which was Abraham. Excuse me. And his physical seed, sir, his by genetics, his seed are inheritors of that promise made to him, because that promise was made to him and his physical seed. Okay, you can't get around that. So you have to use precept upon precept. Okay, and you're not giving us the proper precept that shows us that it was the heathens that would be these inheritors. Okay, like you're trying to say right here, man. Okay. So who is Israel and who is Jacob? All right. When you deal with the redemption, because there is a distinction. Israel is that cosmos, that world, that arrangement that received the covenants. But Jacob was the one who received the promise. Okay. All right. We'll elaborate a little bit more later.
Grafted in and given the opportunity to be part of the kingdom of God. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles. I magnify mine office, if by any means I may provoke to emulate them which are, I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead?
All right. All right. Again, like I just said, remember how let's pause him for a second. Remember how I just said that Israel was the world, the cosmos. So he's reading out of Romans 11. And I don't know, T.I., you need to do us a favor, man, and enlarge them fonts, all right? Because that's tiny reading right there. Just so you can put so much on the screen, man, it's ridiculous. All right. So here we go. He's reading from Romans 11, right? At the casting away of Israel being the reconciling of the world. Okay, what verse is that? Let me scroll see what verse that is. What world though are we dealing with right here? Because if the casting away of let's go to the dictionary. Slovakia.
Be holy. So are the branches. So if the root is holy.
Hold on. So let's go back a few seconds.
The foreign branch, which have been grafted in and given the opportunity to be part of the kingdom of God. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of...
All right. So now if the fall of them, Israel, the cosmos, okay, be the riches of the world, you see, cosmos. Okay, so you can see when you look at the word world right there, you're not dealing with all the heathen nations. You're still dealing with cosmos. The same thing Yahushua dealt with when he said he came to save all them in the world that believed on the Son of the Most High. See? So what world is Paul talking about here, man? Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, which is cosmos, which is an order and arrangement. So is that the order and arrangement that the Most High is talking about? Or is he talking about the people who he chose out of all nations upon the earth for himself? So, because we never got the memo if he changed his mind about who his elect was. Okay, so the elect is his world, that his cosmos. All right, so how do you get them being distinct from the cosmos? Well, they are distinct because they are also the seed who are inheritors. However, they are the branches of the priesthood. You see what I'm saying? The ordinances and statutes, okay, the covenant keepers, so to speak. So they were the ones that were in charge of the order. So in other words, they held the title Israel. Why? Because they stayed in the land where the Most High chose for himself. So as long as you're in Israel and you're inheriting the land according to promise, that's who Israel is. The 10 tribes were not in Israel inheriting their land, sir. After they got out of captivity, did they go back and inherit their land? No. They were where? Scattered among the nations. They were no longer Israel, man. The 10 tribes were no longer Israel. Jerusalem is Israel, the place where the name of the Most High is. If you're scattered among the heathen and you're practicing like the heathens, are you truly Israel? They were Hellenists. They're just like you Christians. Okay? They're going after the Gentiles. They're going after the Greeks. Who you going after? T.L. Okay? So the fall of them being the the priests, the Levites, the covenant keepers, all right? The priesthood, man. Okay? The priesthood, all right? Let's just put it plain. The priesthood was the ones who were in charge. That's what it was all about, the priesthood. Up until the point of Mashiach coming and having to deal with those hypocrites and ultimately being put to death at their hands through the Romans, or put to death by them at the hands of the Romans. All right? Who was it that condemned Mashiach to death? It was the high priest. All right? Okay? So David is that priest and that king now. Okay? It's about him. He is the promise. He's Jacob. Okay? Israel is the ones who had a covenant that they didn't keep, and they broke and ended up being broken off. Okay? So you're dealing with the Jews, man. The real Jews. Okay? Which means you're dealing with Levites, priests, and the house of David, the house of Judah in Jerusalem. That is Israel. Okay? If you're not in Jerusalem, you're not Israel at this particular time of these writings. You need to understand that. Okay? They were cut off, man. They wasn't rejoined back into the body, into the branch, until Messiah died, man. And we're going to see that and prove that more a little later. So that's Kosmos. All right? The world that Jesus died for. Now, if the fall of them, the Jews, be the riches of the world, the cosmos, that God so loved, okay, that whosoever believe, just like in the wilderness, whosoever looked upon the brazen serpent among all the tribes would be healed. And the stranger with him, but the strangers in that camp with us, they knew who the Israelites were, so there was no issue with them serving the Antichrist, all right? Because they either went off with Israel or they obeyed with Israel. And then we ultimately got rid of them, okay? That's right. Because it was abominable of the intermarrying that was going on. We got rid of their wives and their women and their children too, okay?
I magnify mine office if by any means I may provoke to emulate them which are, I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. So if the root is holy, which is Christ himself, right? If he is holy, and his branches must also be holy. So Israel must be holy as well, right? That is the ultimate outcome of the natural branches.
So we showed you already that David was the root. So that's the holy root. We hope you got that. No, that wasn't. David is that
Some
root.
of the branches be broken off. So we see here some branches were broken off. And thou being a wild olive tree, so the Gentiles whom he's talking to
No.
were a wild olive tree.
All right, let's deal with that right now.
Were grafted in a.
All right, Mr. Tiao, because I done had enough of hearing these damn lies. He's not talking to them heathens, okay? Oh, this is making me sick. Mr. Starting at the 11th chapter, having ass. Let's go back a little earlier and see if we can get a little bit more detail about who this man talking to. He's addressing the Romans. It's just a little earlier than the 11th chapter. What shall we say then? That Abraham, let's see what that word our mean. Himon. That's dealing with family. Our, we, us. That's dealing with genitive, plural. You see that? Meaning us as a people. Our. So Paul is talking to his own flesh and blood right now. Our, father. Who? Maybe that'll help us understand even more. Pater. What is a pater according to Greek? Oh, generator or male ancestor. What? So you're telling me you're dealing with the physical father? Wow. Let's get to Strong's. See what he can say. Literally or figuratively. Pater is dealing with. You know what that's dealing with. Male ancestor. Father. Pater, the same word that is used dealing with our Heavenly Father, okay? Straight up. So don't even try it. You just love lies if you want to rebuke, if you want to deny this truth. So what shall we say then? That Abraham, our father, Humon, you're dealing with this like the Humon of the same physical family. Pater, same ancestor, as pertaining to the flesh had found. You see? So this whole thing in the letter to the Romans is dealing with law compared to promise, covenant compared to flesh compared to faith. Okay, Mr. Tiao, this whole thing was just dealing with him telling the Romans, this is your new walk compared to the old walk. It was just a comfortable letter to let them know that they were in the right place, doing the right thing, not having to worry about those old burdens from the past of the law. And we'll go back further and even prove it. So here you go. He's he's dealing with the law, man. For as many as have sinned without law shall also perish without law. And as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just before Yahweh, but the doers of the law shall be justified. For when the nations which have not the law do by nature the things contained in the law, these have not the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves. And that's still not dealing with no heathens. He said he would put his law in our hearts. All right, that's right. So you can't get around that he's still dealing with his people. We show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts, the meanwhile accusing or excusing one another. You see what I'm saying? So that's just dealing with accountability before each other. All right. So you see, he's comparing Jew versus Greek. He's just trying. All right, let's read. In the day, no, let's look at 17. Behold, thou art called a Jew, and restest in the law, and makest thy boast of Yahweh, and knowest his will, and approvest the things that are more excellent, being instructed out of the law, and art confident that thou thyself art a God of the blind, a light of them which are in darkness. So you telling me he's talking to a heathen right now? No, he just addressed a Jew at Rome. Why? Because he know that there's Jews in this crowd, meaning that there are those who didn't see themselves as heathens. but lived in Rome and would be in that temple. Just like there would be those who saw themselves as Hellenists, but they would still go to the temple, okay, and pray, do all whatever, okay. There was that lost those lost sheep. You still had them, those certain ones that wanted to keep a consciousness towards the Most High, and everywhere throughout all the nations, you still had Jews up until this time. You had those law keepers, those who would travel from wherever they lived in the world to Jerusalem 3 times a year. That is what a Jew was. No matter what tribe they were from, that is what a Jew was. You're dealing with Jew versus Hellenist, okay? Practices. This was never a question about were they all family. This was never a question about were they all family. Why? Look at chapter 4 again, verse 1. What shall we say then? That Abraham our father. Okay, Mr. Tiao. See? And what did he find pertaining to the flesh? See, he's not talking about no spiritual Abraham father, okay? See, he's just talking about Abraham's faith versus his works, or Abraham's faith versus us being justified by works that came later with the law. Okay? Abraham believed the Most High, and it was counted to him for righteousness. See? He didn't have to, it wasn't nothing that he did, but believed. That's what this thing is about. Now, to him that worketh is the reward not reckoned of grace, but of debt. See, he's just comparing stuff. All right, so now we see Mr. Tiao for certain, my man. Okay, that it wasn't a heathen that he was talking to, sir. All right, so you're wrong. You're very, very wrong, unfortunately, sir. And it's sad.
Boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou save some of them. But if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. So if the root is holy, which is Christ himself, right? If he's holy, and his branches must also be holy. So Israel must be holy as well, right? That is the ultimate outcome of the natural branches, is to be a holy people. Scripture has said this is the Father's plan from the beginning. And if some of the branches be broken off, so we see here some branches were broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree, so the Gentiles who he's talking to are what? A wild olive tree. Grafted in among them, and with them partaketh.
Now, we heard what you said. The Gentiles who he's talking to were a wild olive tree. Okay? But we saw what Romans 4:1 said. Okay? So that means he's still talking to the same people, and those Gentiles that he's talking to have Abraham as a ancestor, sir. Okay, so you can call them Gentiles if you like, but you need to make sure that you let the people know that these Gentiles, which only is you know, do you know what it means? It just means nations, a multitude. Okay, that's the ethnos in Greek. That's all it's just that's ethnos. That's just all it is. And so you got to read the scripture in context to know where to say heathen or whether to say nations of Israel, because the nations of Israel are Gentiles. Gentiles just means nations. Israel are Gentiles. They were Gentiles in the Old Testament too. Okay, so no, he's talking to Israel. He's not talking to no heathens like you're trying to tell people.
Of the root and fatness of the olive tree. Boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Thou wilt say that the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief they were broken off, and thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. So don't boast that you have been grafted in and added to the kingdom, but fear. For if God spared not the natural branches, so God called Judah and the 10 tribes, right? Israel themselves, what? The natural branches.
Okay, so can you please tell us when was it that all 12 tribes were together and then cut off at once? Because you're saying that they were cut off together, and that's not the case. Okay, that's not the case, man. The 10 tribes been scattered among the heathen. That's and that's who Paul is talking to. The 10 tribes that were scattered among the heathen. Okay, and the Jews that he's referencing that are being cut off are them that are in unbelief. But guess what? He's reminding you that there's still a handful of us in belief, because I am also an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin. Okay, and that's who he identified as a Jew. Okay, so you got to understand what a Jew is and a Greek, and you have to understand what the nations is. Okay, when you have to make the distinction between Israel and Jacob, Israel and Gentiles, you have to be able to do this. Okay, yeah, because translation is what got all you people caught up, man.
That's the distinction right there. It's Israel to the natural branch.
No, that's
God
not.
spared not the natural branches. Take heed lest he also spare not thee. Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of God on thee is found. Severity, but toward thee goodness. If thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou also shalt be cut off. So he has warned the Gentiles that they also would be cut off, just like Israel. So
It's all
what makes
Israel.
the 10 tribes not Israel?
What makes them not Israel? Let's show
They're
them.
the lost tribes.
What makes the 10 tribes not Israel? We're glad you asked, man. Well, actually, the 10 tribes are Israel. But what makes the the uh, the 2.5 tribes? I ain't even gonna say that. That's who was left in the land. Okay, you know, and you know you just you all over the place. You really are, man. Okay, because we're gonna show you though. We're glad you asked, because I understand what you're trying to ask. What, you know what I'm saying? How do we separate the 10 tribes from being the natural branches? We're gonna show you. We're gonna show you. Praise the Most High. Oh no, matter of fact, let's go right here. Let's go to the Testament of Judah. I'll show you, sir. You'll receive it. So this is the son of Israel, Judah, and he's talking to his children, okay? And now, my children, okay, I command you, love Levi, that ye may abide and exalt not yourselves against him, lest ye be utterly destroyed. So you see, right out the gate, the king Judah gives grace and glory to the priests. Okay? So he's showing you the cosmos right now, man. He's showing you the world, okay? Israel was gonna be Levi holding the precepts for all the people, but Judah being the king, reigning over the people. But they both sinned and had to be pruned. Okay? And so let's look. 5. For the angel of Yahweh said unto me, Yahweh chose him rather than thee to draw near to him, and to eat of his table, and to offer him the first fruits of the choice things of the sons of Israel. But thou shalt be king of Jacob. You see that? So there you got the distinction of Israel and Jacob. What is Israel? Like we told you earlier, Israel is when you're in the land and in the inheritance, keeping the commandments as pertaining to all the laws and the statutes. That is what Israel is, okay? That is the prince of the Most High. But thou shalt be king of Jacob. So what Judah gets is what David got, okay? Just a plain, simple, old, unconditional promise because I like you. Kingship forever, okay? That's right. So now when you can understand who Judah is and how he relates to Jacob and who Levi is and how he relates to Israel, then you can relate to this this analogy of branches on a rod of a tree, breaking off and grafting, okay? And that's just one analogy. You can't blanket that one parable over all the scriptures, man. Because the Messiah uses another analogy. He called all of us trees. He called all of us individual trees at some point. Make the tree good or make the tree bad. You see that? It wasn't even dealing with just branches at that point. Individuals, trees. See? So here we go. Let's look down a little bit. So I can show you even further the distinction that the Most High makes between Israel, Jacob, and the heathens, man. Here go. Let's look at 12. And there shall be continual wars in Israel, and among men of another race shall my kingdom be brought to an end until the salvation of Israel shall come. So you see the language right there? Men of another race will end the kingdom of Judah until the salvation of Israel, to the salvation of the world shall come. You see that? So in other words, the whole party got blown, the priesthood and the kingdom, all right? Until when? Until Messiah came to do what? Restore the priesthood and the kingdom, man. Until the appearing of the Most High of righteousness, that Jacob and all the nations may rest. So who is Jacob, sir? David is Jacob. Do you get it? Judah is Jacob. Do we need to remind you? Look at verse 5. Levi is chosen rather than Judah to draw near to Yahweh and to eat of his table and offer him the first fruits of the choice things of the sons of Israel. But Judah shall be king of Jacob. See, if you can't roll with the Most High in that language right there, you ain't gonna understand this work that he's doing, man. You see the language that's being used? There's distinctions. Levi and Judah, Israel and Jacob. You need to be able to put that together, man. Okay, let's go. So Judah is Jacob, man. Remember that, all right? Let's look at this, because this is important. Oh, well, we didn't even get it. Oh, we didn't even finish with 12. Oh, let's go with the 13 until the... Oh, so, okay. So once Yahweh shall show up, Jacob and all the nations may rest in peace. That's how you deal with Paul talking to the Gentiles. You see, Judah talked to the Gentiles too. Now let's see how he talk about the Gentiles. So this is the distinction between the nations of Israel and the nations of the heathen. And he shall guard the might of my kingdom forever. For Yahweh aware to me with an oath that he would not destroy the kingdom from my seed forever, Judah's seed. Now I have much grief, my children, because of your lewdness and witchcrafts and idolatries, which ye shall practice against the kingdom in the land, right? Following them that have familiar spirits, diviners and demons of error. You shall make your daughters singing girls and harlots. You shall mingle in the abominations of the heathen. See? No more talking about Israel. He's talking about the heathen now. the Gentiles. For which things sake Yahweh shall bring upon you famine and pestilence, death and the sword, his beleaguering plagues, right? His four, great sorrows, beleaguering by enemies and revilings of friends, the slaughter of children, the rape of wives, the plundering of possessions, the burning of the temple of Yahweh, the laying waste of the land, the enslavement of yourselves among the nations. Now, what nations is he talking about? Is he talking about the nations of Israel going to slave Judah? No, he's talking about the nations of the heathen going to enslave Judah, just like the Most High said that would happen. Judah would be in four corners of the earth when he came to redeem us, all right? And this shows what they did to us when they took us in slavery, made us eunuchs for their wives. Man, look at what King Judah knew. Wow. Until Yahweh visits you with perfect heart, you repent and walk in all his commandments, and he bring you up from the captivity among the nations. Now, that could be the 70 years. That could be this one. Any captivity the seed of Judah been in, this was always going to be a fact. We would have to come with a perfect heart and repent, okay? Then we would be delivered. And after these things shall a star rise to you from where? From Jacob. So who is Jacob? Judah. David, the root of Jesse. You see who that star? Jacob. And a man shall arise from my seed, like the son of righteousness, with healing in his wings, says that in one of the other prophets, walking with the sons of men in meekness and righteousness. And no sin shall be found in him. Mr. Adewine from GMS. He's not a reincarnated sinful Adam. Okay. No sin shall be found in him. And the heavens shall be open to him. All right. That's when he got baptized. The Spirit came down. All right. To pour out the Spirit, even the blessing of the Holy Father. He shall pour out the Spirit of grace upon you. All right. So that's okay. Same thing the gospel, every other gospel tells us. And ye shall be unto him sons in truth. And ye shall walk in his commandments first and last. That's what Moses told us. All right. Then shall the scepter, okay, you got that rod, TL. Then shall the scepter of my kingdom shine forth, and from your root, see, Judah, your root, Judah, the seed, yeah, my children, you, Judah, from your root, you children of Judah, shall arise a stem, Jesse, all right, and from it shall grow a rod, unto the nations, to the Gentiles. So is he talking to his son Judah, telling his son Judah that the stem and the rod growing from his seed in righteousness is going to be to the heathens and not to his other brothers? That's madness. It's madness. He's talking about his brothers, the Israelites, the nations, and from it shall grow a rod of righteousness to the nations of Israel, to judge and to save all that call upon Yahweh. And after these things shall Abraham and Isaac and Jacob arise unto life. I and my brothers shall be chiefs of the tribes of Israel. See, he's talking about that eldership in the kingdom, man. All right. All right, we're going to call that part 2. All right, let me get back. Matter of fact, let me see. Let's get one more before we go. Let's go to, let's get this one out of Jubilees real quick, man. I don't think we got that one. This is going to be Jubilees. Man, I think this is like 17 or something. Oh, 16. Jubilees 16. Let's start at around 15. No, let's look at 14. Very important. And Abraham circumcised his son on the 8th day. He was the first that was circumcised according to the covenant which is ordained forever. Isaac was circumcised, and that was the first real circumcision, because Isaac was the one who all this stuff was all about. All right. And in the 6th year of the 4th week, we came to Abraham to the well of the oath, and we appeared unto him, as we had told Sarah that we should return to her, and she would have conceived a son. And we returned in the 7th month and found Sarah with child before us, and we blessed him, and we announced to him all the things which had been decreed concerning him, that he should not die till he should beget 6 sons more, and should see them before he died. But that in Isaac should his name and seed be called. And Isaac shall his. Ooh, sound familiar, huh? We heard that before, haven't we? But this is coming out of Jubilees, all you unbelievers of the Holy Scriptures. So, in Isaac should his name and seed be called. But guess what? It gets more specific in that all the seed of his sons should be heathens, Gentiles, and be reckoned with the heathens. But from the sons of Isaac, one should become a Kadash seed, a holy seed, and should not be reckoned among the heathen. So all of Abraham's seed gonna be reckoned among the heathen. Remember Esau, I made you small among the heathen. See, Esau's not a Hebrew. There's no such thing as a Hebrew other than the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in that order. Okay? Straight up, man. All right. Esau became a heathen, man. All right. So in Isaac, the name and the seed would be called. So, man, Mr. TLTL, can you see the genetic condition right there, sir? He telling you Abraham had many children, many nations, but only one of them nations, one of those seeds, only one of them seeds would have the promises. So that's a genetic condition, sir. That genetic condition is Isaac and Jacob. And all that his sons should be heathens and be reckoned with the heathens. But from the sons of Isaac, one should become a holy seed and should not be reckoned among the heathen. For he should become the portion of the Most High. And all his seed had fallen into the possession of Yahweh, that it should be unto Yahweh a people for his possession above all kingdoms, and that it should become a kingdom and a priest and a holy nation. Oh man, that sounds so familiar. Yeah, because it's in that 66 book canon you got. And we went on our way, and we announced to Sarah all that we had told them, and they both rejoiced exceedingly with exceeding great joy. Will you please read that? All of Abraham's seed, verse 17, that all the seed of his sons should be Gentiles and be reckoned with the Gentiles. So you can see how Paul can say Gentiles and that still be Abraham's seed, but it's not the way you people are blaspheming, because this seed that Paul is speaking to shouldn't be called Gentiles to make them heathens, but they should be called Gentiles only to make them the nations of Isaac. But from the sons of Isaac, one should become a holy seed and should not be reckoned among the heathen. Okay? That's that holy one, all right? That holy rod, man. That holy branch. Okay? All right. Let's get back to this doctrine of no knowledge.
Of Israel, they are the natural branches by birth, by God's original covenant. That's who they are. The Gentiles are outside the covenant. Okay?
So,
and we're going to see who the Gentiles are right quick after we finish reading this.
All right, so we just saw, though, that Romans were the seed of Abraham, okay?
And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. So, original natural branches that were broken off, if they not remain in unbelief, shall be grafted in. For God is able to graft them in again. Right? So they were broken off, they will be grafted back in again. For if thou wert cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, right? So the Gentile is wild by nature. Okay, he's a wild olive tree.
You know, you liar. You know, you liar. That's not what it's talking about.
Grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree. How much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into an olive tree? So he said Israel is the natural branch. Israel, because of their unbelief, were broken off. Okay, and this is the whole dry bones, right? Israel appeared dead because they were taken off of the tree of life. They were broken off and received no more life from the tree. Okay? And the Gentiles were grafted in. And so they were given opportunity to receive the life from the tree, which is Christ.
Yahweh hath called thy name a green olive tree, fair and of goodly fruit, with the noise of a great tumult. He hath kindled fire upon it, and the branches of it are broken. So that's what Paul's talking about right here. Paul is talking about the good green olive tree that the Gentiles were grafted in. Okay? The branches, you see that? The branches of it are broken off, which was, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, the priests, and all that. The whole order of the whole system, the world, the cosmos, the temple, all that stuff. Okay, that's what it's talking about. So, TL, you're saying green olive tree represents the natural Israelites, all 12 tribes, and that these branches are broken off of the 12 tribes, and the people grafted into the place of these broken off branches are heathens. That's what you're saying. So the Most High said he called Israel a green olive tree. Let's see who he's talking to. Jeremiah 11:1. See, we go to the beginning to get a better understanding. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, hear the words of this covenant, and speaking to who? The men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. You see that? That's Israel, man. That's the world. That's the cosmos. That's the holiness right there. Jerusalem, where he said his name, man. The place he promised us. That's the branches that got broken off. The holy and the righteous people. Who got grafted in? The nations of Israel, man. I mean, the nations of Ephraim. Not no heathens. The good and olive. So, TL, can you see that? The word is directed to Judah, the men of Judah. All right? All that's dealing with Judah, sir. Jerusalem. Here go the branches get broke off in 11. He set the evil on us that we wouldn't be able to escape. That's what we got broke off. Them Romans. Them heathens, them Greeks who you saying are grafted in. Okay? The Most High, he mourned over this too. What hath my beloved to do in mine house, seeing she hath wrought lewdness with many? And the holy flesh, remember that holy seed, that lump and all that stuff, TL. The holy flesh is passed from thee. When thou doest evil, then thou rejoicest. Yahweh called thy name a green olive tree, fair and of goodly fruit. TL, who's the green olive tree? Is it all 12 tribes or is it Judah, sir? And the men of Judea and the inhabitants of Jerusalem? Thank you. I know you're not going to deny this scripture that's right in your face, sir. Okay? Pray for you, man. Repent. Do a little bit more studying, man. You know what? You're not reading enough, and you're just doing your videos to keep up with your fan base. That's not gonna work, man. You got to get in this word and get out your feelings. And I know you did your DNA and came back from the G haplo group, so that could be affecting you mentally as far as the inheritance of the strangers. Okay, you know what I'm saying, and those who aren't the descendants of Jacob. Okay, so you could be concerned about all that. Hey, it is what it is, but you don't need to make matters worse and blaspheme, okay, the scriptures and give what's holy to the dogs, man, because that's what this is all about. Did you know that the abomination of desolation, all that had to do with heathens and strangers in the holy place, putting abominable things on the altar, giving what was holy to the dogs, man. That's the heathen nations, okay? Man, we went an hour on this part too, and we ain't done yet, man. And it's not just to direct something to TLTL, but this is for all that have an ear to hear, whoever come across this, because this is the whole issue at hand. Who is who is the seed of the Most High, and who are the inheritors of the promises, man? Okay, yeah. TLTL admits that the Hebrew is the so-called Negro, but he is lost as to what the distinction of the inheritance are. You know, you don't even understand the division of the covenant and the promise, TLTL. So you cannot understand how inheritance are given to Israelites, the seed of Jacob versus a heathen. Man, man, you're out of it. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. This is to Jeremiah from Yahweh, and this is a covenant. You see this? This is a covenant to Judah, the inhabitants of Jerusalem. All right. And the Most High went so far to say, "Cursed be everyone that don't obey the words of that covenant." All right, straight up. So you see, Judah, Jerusalem. He's talking to his boy Judah, man. Judah, broken my covenant. See, he's mourning over all the idols Judah worship. His beloved, working lewdness with many, holy flesh passing from us. But the Most High called Judah a green olive plant, sir. Okay? Judah, man. My friend. Okay? Judah was the cultivated plant, sir. Thank you. And don't be afraid to humble yourself and admit your scriptures say, you know what I'm saying, your ignorance. Be abashed at your ignorance. Okay? And cover your mouth, man. All right? You're going to be a servant in the kingdom, man, if you make it. But don't be one of these terrorists that Satan planted, dude, and still preach these heresies, man. And we coming back with a part 3, Most High will. All right. Shalom, Yasharala. All praise to the Most High. By Hashem's holy beloved, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, Adonai, Allahayim Yasharala, Aman and Aman, Khan.